this one we'll understand male and female gametophyte development. Okay. And if you look into the reproductive floral organs in case of male flowers, so it contains two things that are very prominent. One is the anther, and there is a filament attached with the anther. And this combination of this one we call as a stamen. And if you see the cross section of an anther, inside the we'll get the pollen, and outside there is a protective pollen sac, and that is attached to the filament. And anther, it forms, pollen grains, and filament holds the anther, and pollen grains contains male gamete. Okay. This is what purpose of, anther, that protects the pollen. And coming to the vascular, bundle, if you take the TS of an anther, this is how it looks. Pollen grains, male gametes are there inside the sac, and there is a anther sac or the pollen sac, and there is a protective layer that we call as a tapetum. So you people just understand that there is a anther attached with the filament, and inside the anther sac there is a pollen. Okay, that much you please get the idea. And coming to the anther, these are the pollen grains, and these pollen grains contain haploid nucleus. Here we are using the technical term that is called as haploid. Haploid is the status that indicates the chromosome numbers. If it is a chromosome number of 28 in the haploid, 2n is 28. In haploid, it contains n is equal to 40. Okay, this is how just simply understand. Haploid is the n, means n chromosomes. For example, in case of take example of any other crops where it is a diploid is of 28 chromosomes. In a haploid state, it contains 14 chromosomes. Okay. And this is the typical, there is a plant A and there is a plant B. And this is how kind of self-pollination or the cross-pollination can be defined. In case of self-pollination, the transfer of pollen grains within the flower itself. For example, see, this is the anther, and there is a stamen, inside there. And the transfer of pollen from there to stamen to anther, that is called as a self-pollination. If it is from the pollen transfer from plant B to plant A, this is called as cross-pollination. Okay, and there are plants have different mechanisms. For example, in case of self-pollination, many plants have developed due course of time, the mechanisms where they themselves promote the self-pollination. For example, one of such mechanism is cleistogamy. You just follow the term cleistogamy. The cleistogamy, in this condition, flower don't open. Okay, if it all opens, it opens after the complete self-pollination. In the sense, the pollen will transfer from the anthers of itself. For example, you just remember these 2 or 3 crops. For example, wheat. जो हम wheat का आटा खाते हैं, in this wheat there is a complete cleistogamy. Means there is no chance of coming of outside or the plant B or plant C pollen coming and cross-pollinating the wheat plant. So this is what is called as cleistogamy. And in case of oats, also the same mechanism, and also barley and other number of other grasses, this mechanism is prevalent. And there is another mechanism by which
sir, yes. सर क्लिस्टोगैमी में एग्जांपल आपने व्हीट, ओट्स और बार्ली का कहा, ये तीनों ही मोनोकॉट है ना?
they are all monocots. Okay,
तो क्या हम कह सकते हैं कि क्लिस्टोगैमी is only occurs in monocot?
All monocots. Okay,
okay sir,
in all monocots. Okay, there are some exceptions, so you can just You can just see it. Okay. So
okay, sir, तो डाइकॉट में भी क्लिस्टोगैमी होता है?
you can just read this one, whether any examples of the exception in case of dichots cleistogamy is there or not. But chances are rare, but there are one or two exceptions are there. Okay, because
okay sir,
so that you need to read a little bit. Okay, just
okay.
all these three species, they are majorly, wheat is a major food staple crop, and there is a oats, that is another major crop, and there is a barley. This barley is exclusively, most of the barley is used for the propagation of production of beer. So these are all the major crops they are having the cleistogamy mechanism. And then comes chasmogamy. So this in this flower opens, but after pollination, means in first case there won't be, flower won't open, and here in second case after pollination flower opens. For example, this in some of the this chasmogamy mechanism is there in case of wheat also, barley, and there is a rice. Rice is a typical example of chasmogamy in many cases. Along with this, there are different species in case of wheat where they strictly follow for example cleistogamy, and then few species they follow chasmogamy. For example, strictly they are self-pollinated, but in self-pollinated after classification, which species that open the flower, which species that they don't open the flower. Okay, that is in case of rice, wheat, barley, and oats. You can see the example of chasmogamy. And there is also an exception here. Sometime what happens, due to the flower opens, but in nature there is a chance of cross pollination. Cross pollination occur in these strictly self pollinated crops also. For example, in case of rice and wheat, there are chances of cross pollination of 1 to 5% or 1 to 2%. Chances are there, but rarely. Why? In case of, even though, for example, the self pollination promotes the homozygosity. When homozygosity is there, there is a there are accumulation of lethal alleles, and that may be detrimental for the crops too. So in such cases, such kind of cross pollination will help for the development of production of recombinants, and that recombinants withstand the natural calamities. And another important thing here, that two terms will be there: bisexuality and then homogamy. These are a little bit of technical terms, where in bisexuality, male and female sexual organs present they're present on the same flowers, means in a single flower, both male and female sexual organs are available. For example, groundnut, rice, wheat. And for example, in case of homogamy, what happens? Both male and female sexual organs, they mature at the same time. For example, anther is ready when pollens are matured. This is called as homogamy. There is a mechanism that is called as heterogamy, where male and female, they mature at a different time. See, in case of cell pollination, what happens after cell pollination? Majorly the genetic consequences are, there is a rapidly increase in homozygosity. And for example, in case of the self-pollinated crops, if you look those crops, they look like same, means homozygous. They look similar. There won't be any much variability in that. For example, in case of self-pollinated species that do not show any inbreeding depression, but they may exhibit considerable heterosis. Therefore, the aim of breeding method is generally to develop homozygous varieties. In this, we are using an word that is called as inbreeding depression. Technically speaking of inbreeding depression, For example, you people probably may have heard the stories of many kings and queens or the rich persons where they wanted their kingdom to be in their hands, not the others. So what they did was, they for example, they took a bride or the bridegroom from their own close relatives. What happens with this marrying the close relatives? There is a inbreeding depression. Inbreeding depression in the sense there are certain genetic diseases, genetic disorders which may occur due to the inbreeding depression. This inbreeding depression, the progeny will be weak, they are not healthy, they will have some genetic problems. This is how an inbreeding depression is major problem. For example, I request you people note down this inbreeding depression term and read about the inbreeding depression. What are the negative consequences of inbreeding depression? And there are typical cases or the examples given for the inbreeding depression. And in this, there is another term that is called as heterosis. Heterosis is a technical term. When we cross between plant A and plant B, which are genetically different, and in F1 gives, for example, plant A gives 5 quintals yield, and there is a plant B gives a 10 quintals of yield, and then I cross both these plants. The F1, the progeny of these two crosses will give higher yield than both the parents or superior parent. For example, जो 10 टन देता था उससे भी ज्यादा जो F1 देता है, the progeny of the two parents cross yield, plant A and plant B, that is called as heterosis. Heterosis in the sense the performance of the progeny over the parents in terms of yield or in terms of any other parameter that we are considering. That is called as heterosis. So this inbreeding depression and heterosis are the opposite terms with respect to breeding point of view. So I request you people to read regarding these two terms, inbreeding depression and heterosis. Yes, you people got a little bit of idea what heterosis is?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Udita, did you follow?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then coming to the cross-pollination. In this cross-pollination, the transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another, means from one plant A to plant B. This is called as cross-pollination. So you will understand why cross-pollination is very important when you read both these two terms, inbreeding depression and heterosis. Okay, these are two technical terms. They are openly used in the plant breeding courses wherever you go, or wherever you go as a educated or the technical person from agriculture background. This heterosis and inbreeding depression are very, very vital. And then mechanism of promoting the for example, the self-pollination. For example, diclining or the unisexuality. Here this is this mechanism where they promote the not self-pollination, they promote the cross-pollination. For example, diclining, unisexuality. For example, in some plants, they will have only either male flower or female flower, or staminate or pistillate. This condition is called as a unisexuality or the diclining. And there is for example, for monoecious, there is a plant called monoecious. In this staminate and fistulate flowers, or the male and female flowers, occur in the same plant, either in the same inflorescence, okay, or in a separate inflorescence. For example, in case of mango, you can see male and female flowers, they are in the same inflorescence. They are in the same plant, in the same inflorescence, but they are at the different positions. Either you can take banana, or you can take the coconut, where the staminate and fistulate, for example, male and female flowers, they occur in the same plant. For example, the mango if you take in that condition, mango is a cross-pollinated crop. The mango, in case of mango, which one is the pollinator? Which pollinates these flowers? Do you have people any idea? Garima?
No, sir. No, sir. No.
So
Insect pests, honeybees, and wind.
No. Mangoes are, strictly cross-pollinated by houseflies. आप हाउस फ्लाइज जानते हो? हाउस फ्लाइज जो डस्टबिन में और गंदगी में रहते हैं, हाउस फ्लाइज.
Yes.
House flies transfer from male parents pollen to the this one female flowers. So we should be very grateful to these house flies. They pollinate our mangoes, which is called as king of fruit. Okay. So house flies have got a very important role in the nature. They transfer pollen from the male flowers of mango to the male flowers of mango. Okay, you just remember this point, very very important. And in case of the male and female flowers, they present in different positions. That is called as monocy. And these examples are maize, cucurbit. Many cucurbits means cucurbit family, and strawberry. And there is another condition that is called as diacy. In this, male and female present on different plants together. For example, in case of papaya, male flower plant is different and female flower plant is different. Probably when you were kids, probably you have seen the papaya plants. Probably some papaya plants there will be fruits, and some papaya plants there don't be any fruit. Just its flowers, and there won't be any fruit. Those the flowering plants are called as male plants, and those bearing the fruit are called as female plants. The female plant bears the fruit. This is the example, typical example of papaya and hemp and date palm. Okay, vital examples of diacy. And there is a dichogamy, means the anthers and stamina of hermaphrodite flowers mature the different time. So where they help for the cross pollination. So these are the different terms. There is a term called as protogyny, means gynoecium matures earlier than the androecium. Okay. For example, the female parts mature first and then male. And here the androecium matures first and then gynoecium. So based on that, these are the technical terms. For example, marigold, the male part matures first and then female part. The same is with respect to cotton. And there is a heterostyly. Heterostyly in the sense the filaments, for example, these anthers and the style, stigma, they are different length. That is called as heterostyly. They are all different mechanisms, and there is a physical barrier of mechanical obstacle between anther and stigma. In case of there is a Calotropis gigantea in this plant, the anthers and stigma are differentiate, means covered by obstacles, where it promotes the cross pollination. Like this, these are different technical terms. Please just remember these terms. Being a technical, this one, you can understand how this cross and self-pollination will occur in the nature. For example, there is another mechanism by which the different in this nature, they promotes the cross-pollination, that is self-incompatibility. For example, a flower producing the pollen, they are not compatible for the same female part. If the pollen cross-pollinates to the same flower, there won't be any seed. So that is called as self-incompatibility. Means failure of pollen from the flower to fertilize the same flower or other flowers on the same plant. It may be saprophytic or gametophytic. These are technical terms. And the examples are mustard, tobacco, sunflowers, and radish. And there is another typical example. This is called as sterility. Means the function the pollens are there don't be any functional pollens. Means pollens are sterile. That is male sterility, and that leads to the cross pollination. There's also different excellent mechanisms in the nature to promote cross pollination. And what are the genetic consequences of cross pollination? So cross pollination preserves and promotes heterozygosity in the population. Means there is a recombination, there is a heterozygosity. In due course of time, the plants develops the recombinants that are very, very useful to fight the biotic and abiotic factors in the nature. In case of cross-pollination crops, the species shows, inbreeding depression and considerable heterosis. So this inbreeding depression and considerable heterosis. So I have given you the assignment. Please read on the inbreeding depression and heterosis. So you will understand what actually these two terms are. And usually hybrid and synthetic without reducing heterozygosity. So in the nature, so it uses the heterosis and it maintains the heterozygosity. So the crop is more stronger and then survives in the nature. And coming to the cycle of plants alternates between saprophyte and gametophyte generation. See,
sir.
Yes.
Sir, ये synthetic क्या है?
Yes. There is a synthetic and there is a composite. These are the two terms, synthetic and there is a composite. So these are the, there is a synthetic variety and there is a composite variety. Composite variety in this, so we take around 5 to 6 lines. They are isogenic lines differing in a single character, and then so meeting will end in 10 minutes. So it says upgrade. Okay. Yes, there is a two things. One is synthetic and then composite. Yes. Slides are there. I am sharing the slides. Am I audible? Guys?
Yes, sir, slides are visible, but slideshow mode पे नहीं है.
Acha, okay. Yes. So synthetic and composites, these are two terms. So I'll be sharing this one. I will be giving you details of this one. Details of this synthetics and composite in next class, because the synthetic composite itself is a big aspect. To understand synthetic and composites, you need to have a little bit of background this one. So I'll be covering that one in the next class. Okay, synthetic and composite. You just remember that one. So coming to the next slide, where you need to understand the saprophyte and gametophyte. Okay, so the gametophyte contains the haploid chromosome number, means N. Okay, in the lower circle. So you can see there is a gametophyte and there is a multicellular haploid N number of chromosomes. When it comes to the saprophyte, is a multicellular diploid, it contains 2N. You just remember haploid contains N and diploid contains 2N. Okay, N is a chromosome number. You just remember that one. So the for example, haploid in meiosis, it produces the gametes, and gametes with the gamete forms under after fertilization, it forms the zygote. Zygote is of diploid condition. After mitosis, this produces the saprophyte, and meiosis, after meiosis, it produces the haploid spores. Okay, and this the cycle is called as saprophyte and gametophytic generations. Simply you understand in this, don't make more complications. Understand the gametophyte contains haploid number and saprophyte contains diploid number, 2N number. Okay, and this is very, very important. It will come in an exam. For example, the relationship between pea flower and the fruit. For example, after pollination, what converts into what? For example, if there is a stigma here in the flower that converts into, the end beak of this fruit, and there is a ovary wall that converts into a pericarp, means cover of this fruit, and there is a ovule. After fertilization, they become seed. Okay, these are the three important. This one, ovule becomes a seed, and stigma becomes the end. This one, beak, and then ovary wall becomes the protective, the fruit coat. Okay. So now this is a very important aspect. Here comes the mitosis and meiosis. So mitosis is the non-reduction division, and meiosis is the reduction division. For example, in mitosis, if it is a 2n, it maintains 2n. If it is a n, it maintains n. Okay, you just remember like this. In meiosis, it's a reduction division. In the sense, if it is 2n, after meiosis, it becomes n. Okay. And that is how mitosis and meiosis, they will be having an important role in case of pollen grain development and embryo sac development. So there is a, for example, there is a microsporocyte, and then there is a microspore, it multiplies and 4, and each of 4 microspore, they become pollen grains. Okay, here we'll see a meiosis, and then after that we see a mitosis. This part we'll see the meiosis, and after this we'll see a mitosis. Okay, this is little bit of technically, little bit higher level for you people. Probably it comes under the if you're gone through the NCERT syllabus, it comes under the 7th to 8th standards, where it goes detail how this pollination, growth of pollen tube, and double fertilization. So here we call a double fertilization and a triple fusion. Okay, that is a very important 2 terms here. In this, pollen grain when it is lands on the stigma, it produces a pollen tube that grows inside, and the tube discharges 2 sperm cells into embryo sac. One fertilizes here. This is a pollen sac, and these are the antipodal cells, then the egg cells and synergids. Okay, near to the synergids there is an egg cell. Okay, and then just to remember, here the tube discharges 2 sperms, and one combines with the egg that forms a zygote, and another combines with the 2 polar nuclei. That polar nuclei is, after combination, is called as endosperm. In the seed, as we know, there is an endosperm and there is a zygote. How these 2 develops? You just remember these 2 points. That's all. Okay. And the same thing I have detailed given here in the double fertilization. How it happens? There are synergids too. There is an egg. There are the polar nuclei, and there are 2 pollen. This one, for example, the pollen tube contains 2 haploid cells, and one becomes zygote. One forms here, and one goes here and combines with the egg, becomes zygote, and then another goes here with the polar nuclei that forms endosperm. That is a very important process, and these 2 terms are important. This is how I have explained it in a single this one. So I will just be ending soon my lecture, because its time is running out. Only 3 minutes are left. These 2 or 3 slides I'll be covering you in the next class, because is of little bit of more technicality. You need to understand how that pollen tube goes. See, you remember these things, how these are the things, this pollen grain, and then I'll be giving you the same kind of thing, what happens after fertilization. And this is how these things will come in the exam, in your practical exam. Okay, that's why I will take little bit of more time in the next class. These are the ovule. This is how they will be placed, and how they will disintegrate and then becomes. And this is ultimately egg becomes zygote, and central cell becomes endosperm, ovule becomes a seed, and integument becomes a seed coat, ovary becomes the fruit. Okay, this is how technically you people need to understand how seed is. Okay. Okay, are you people followed the thing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this was a little bit of, what you mean to say is technically bit of difficult lecture because many technical terms in this. To understand each term, it takes a lot of time. Okay, so I request you people, I will be sharing this lecture to you and the previous lecture also. Please go through this lecture, and then you will understand this lecture. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you
Thank you,
follow
sir.
the things in this?
Yes, sir.
You people followed the things. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you
Yes, sir.
go through this lecture. I'll be mailing you the lecture, and then so we'll discuss in the next class this one. Okay.